Good morning, good morning, good morning. How's it going, everybody? My volume is low. I gotta adjust it. There we go. I think the volume should be okay. You guys can hear me okay? Just let me know in the comment section that you can hear me okay. Want to make sure everybody can hear me before we start. Hello, hello, welcome. Welcome again to another session. Salam, Silver, Kevin, good morning. Good, good. You guys can hear me okay? Good. All right, my friends. Well, welcome. Another session. Take a look at gold, huh? Nice drop. Nice drop indeed. Well, you know, we don't have the latest CFTC data to show us what's going on, but you know what's going on because this is something that we've been talking about for quite some time. There's a massive profit taking happening here in the markets, and this is why price is dropping the way that it is. And we could see that in the positions held by the institutions. We have that right here, the last that we could get. I believe there has been no update. Let me double check. No update on the latest CFTC data. We're going to have a lot of weeks to cover. What are we in now? We should have received data on the 21st. That's 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks of data that we're missing. So leading up to this, though, what we did see was a big increase in long positions, and we knew that they continued to add to their longs because, well, because price rallied up on the charts. Price is not going to rally up on the charts without the banks increasing their long positions. So we knew at some point they were going to have to take profits on those long positions, and that was going to fuel a move to the downside. And this is exactly what we're seeing right now. Okay, so I'm not surprised with what we're seeing on the charts. Look at this big drop here, okay? Very big drop. The first signs we saw were back here. If you could take a look, it was this area here. We had institutional demand being removed right over here, and price came up, and they pulled a little trickery up here. They pulled a little trickery because if you take a look at the highs, they just surpassed the highs. So they tricked a lot of people into thinking that there was going to be a push to the upside again. But that didn't happen. They just briefly snapped the highs only to reverse it back to the downside again. So this is what's going on. All right, this is what's going on. We had new demand created, broken, demand removed. Okay, so all these demand zones, this is telling us that short-term buying is not what they are doing right now. Okay, so if short-term buying is what they're not doing, then we have to go and look at, well, this is very short-term buying, okay? So if they're not doing very short-term buying, then we have to go to short-term buying, which is the daily chart. Are they doing short-term buying? No, because institutional demand is being removed, okay? And what are they replacing it with? Short-term selling. So you see what we have here now? This is a short-term selling area by the institutions. What does that tell us? Well, that tells us if price does rally up to this area, there's a very good chance we're going to see a continued move to the downside from this area. Okay, why is that? Well, because short-term buying is not playing out. Okay, we're going to have to look for medium-term buying to play out. Okay, what is medium-term buying? Medium-term buying is located not there. Medium-term buying is located on the weekly time frame. Okay, and this is our weekly time frame. Okay. So there's nothing to stop price from dropping down to here. And then when we get down here, this is the medium term buying right here. Okay. That's the area. And so we'll be watching for price to make a move out of this area because there's a good chance that we'll see price start to escalate in power. Right? We'll look at the lower time frames. We'll look for long signals. And then we'll get into a long position because there's no doubt in my mind that they could push price up. But the main thing that I want you to absorb out of all this is remember all the predictions and forecasts and all this stuff that were happening, okay? And a lot of people were coming out forecasting price to go to 5,000 and 6,000 and 10,000, all sorts of numbers were being thrown out there. But when you realize that price is not going to continue going higher until the banks take profits on their positions, this is how you can forecast moves like this. We knew it was coming. We just had to wait. We didn't know exactly when it was going to come, but we knew it was going to come. And when it came, it was going to bring a big drop, and then we could get in. A lot of people, people don't really understand the way trading should be. Okay. When price was here, when price is rallying to all-time highs, you don't want to be buying there because you're chasing after price. You don't know if it's going to continue going higher. You have nothing to gauge whether or not your trade is going to work. All right? You need high probability on your side if you're going to take a trade. And when it's all-time highs, you don't have high probability. All you're betting on is that the news that you're hearing and reading is going to play out. All these forecasts that price is going to go to 5,000. You're hoping that price is just going to rally straight to 5,000. Well, the markets don't work that way. And this is why I keep mentioning to you guys that you got to pay attention to what the institutions are doing, because they are the ones that are controlling price. And so I'm pretty sure they got close to that 408,000, okay? Right here, 408,000. I'm pretty sure they got pretty close to that 408,000. Okay, and this is why they're profit taking. Okay, so all those predictions mean nothing right now. Okay, all those stories of central banks are buying gold and all that stuff, that means nothing right now. Zero. Where's the central banks right now? Causing a drop from what was it? 4,300 down to 3,900. That's a significant drop. Where's the central banks buying? Why doesn't it continue going up? Well, again, because it's the banks, the big institutions that are controlling price, okay? When they reach maximum size on their longs, they take profits, and this is what fuels a move to the downside, okay? So for me personally, I'd be looking here for long signals on gold. Do I think it can go higher from here? Sure, of course I can. 1 second. So that's what I'm going to be watching for. And this is what I've been waiting for quite some time, was for a big drop so that it could drop into what I know to be true, which is where the banks were strongly accumulating price. Okay. How do I know they're strongly accumulating price? Well, because I know by looking at these candles, I know where they're accumulating price. Okay. This is what we teach at the school. If you don't know how to do that and you'd like to learn, then you come and join and then you learn. All right. So this is the area that I'm watching moving forward. It's looking pretty good. I like this setup. Okay. And let's see. Let's map out that weekly area of demand onto the daily time frame so we can see where we're at. Okay. That's where we're at. So we could see this and that. Very possible. Very possible. And then build momentum and then shoot back up again. Okay, so I'll be watching for that on gold. Let's take a look at silver. I wanted to open up a short trade on silver, was expecting, well, not expecting, but I was watching to see if we were going to get a move up here. If we did, I was going to short it with my target down here. We didn't get the move up, we just got a move to the downside. So I'm waiting to see how this is going to play out. But again, we have the same circumstances, right? You look at the daily time frame, demand zones are being removed. So that means the banks are not interested in short-term buying. If they're not interested in short-term buying, it's probably because they're interested in long-term buying. And when we look at the weekly time frame, we can see our long, medium-term buying zone right here. Okay, if they're not interested in short-term, we look at medium-term. So I'm going to wait for price to drop down to here, watch for a momentum shift, watch for the long signal, and that's what we're going to be doing, is looking for positions from there. Okay, that's silver. Sounds like some of you want to see Bitcoin. What's Bitcoin been up to? So we came up to that area of supply and broke through. Okay, so We were initially looking for a short signal off of that area to the downside. We didn't get the signal. Price came up. It responded too quickly. We never got the signal to get in short. Okay, it was just too much of a quick move. And then slowly price started creeping up. So now we're getting a zone that's tested for the second time. RSI extremely strong when it came in. And here's the important thing. The zone was broken before we ever got a short signal on the chart. Okay? So that means this was not an area to go short any longer. And as you can see, price rallied up, broke through, and now we are responding to this big imbalance here. Oops. Let's make it a little bit smaller. Big imbalance, okay? That's where price is responding to. And it looks like it wants to go higher. And you know what? What this is telling me, when I look back at, take a wider view of what's taking place here, look at that demand zone, how it held so nicely that we located. Came down demand, and back up. When you look at what's happening on the medium term, we do have institutional demand that is in play, okay? And we had a couple spikes through the zone, but we considered this to be event-driven spikes, and so we're not taking that as any serious threat to the strength of this demand zone. In my opinion, the demand zone is still holding, and Bitcoin is, there's buying taking place on Bitcoin. All right, so Bitcoin's looking strong, and with that daily supply being taken out and no short signals there, this could definitely push even higher. Okay, so let's watch. It looks like now we have. Oh, this is tricky. Probably this area here as demand, because now we're getting this zone removed right here. And let's remember that this was a key zone. Let's remove this here and that. Was potential short. Okay, we want to recognize that this area was an area that price could have dropped from. It was a key spot. Okay, the reason why I say that is because when we have price moving along, there could have been a significant change in direction. You know how TSN has the key turning point in sports? You know, there's always that one moment where the game just gets turned over. Well, this was it. Okay. This zone was the TSN turning point right here. Okay. Because if the banks wanted to break through this big institutional demand area, they would have done it using this area of supply. Okay. This is why it's the TSN turning point here. They could have used that to drop it. If they were going to break through this demand, it would have been this this area. So with this being removed, what does that tell you? That now we should be focused on this, because what they're telling us is that they don't want to use this short-term area of selling to drop and break through medium-term buying to facilitate a move lower. So they're telling us that they're focused on short-term buying with this medium-term buying zone still holding. So medium-term buying, okay, we got contact here, here, and the third time, okay, actually fourth time because we had a third time here. It came in, they bought. They rallied price, they bought. They rallied price, they bought. They rallied price, they bought. And now they're removing a key area of selling to facilitate a move even higher. Now, obviously, we want to see this area get taken out as well. If that area gets taken out, then there's no stopping price in Bitcoin to continue going higher. Okay, so I'll be watching those two things on Bitcoin. First thing is already happening now. We'll watch for the second thing. Now let's see some of the charts. You want to look at silver, Bon dia, Gardelli, silver, Bitcoin. Okay. Euro US dollar, I took a loss on this one. I'm not too happy about that. And So I'm going to be patient with this one because they're telling me, hey, we're not interested in selling right now, okay? Because this was the TSN turning point for euro. If they were going to drop price, it was going to be here, okay? Well, they decided they don't want to drop price, all right? But that was the spot. If there was going to be a spot, this was the spot, okay? There was major selling here that we saw proof of, major selling, and then they came in with selling again here. So if there was going to be a spot where price was going to drop, it was going to be this one. Well, now they're saying we're not interested in dropping price just yet. So it's like, okay, fine. You're not interested in dropping price right now. What are you doing? So our job is to look at the charts and determine what is taking place. Well, we know that they're not short-term selling. So let's now remove that area. Okay. This was the key zone. Let's remember, this is the key zone that we were watching for short. Key zone for the short. I'm going to label that, okay? And now what we're seeing is that demand is coming in and it's right here. What do we have? Some kind of event that took place, okay? This is an event-driven spike, okay? This is something that we see quite a lot in the markets. We saw it just on Bitcoin, as I was pointing out for you, where price was coming down, a big spike through the zone, and then it comes back up and it holds. This is telling me that there's a good chance that price is going to rally here with this demand here, okay? A big event-driven spike. What was that? It happened earlier today. Yeah, it must have just happened this morning. Was there any news this morning? Is there any news this morning, guys? Let's see if there was anything that I missed here. And if you guys know of anything, just mention it. Let's see. Ba-ba-bum. Uh, all right, let me see this morning. Aussie. Yeah, some Euro news from the Aussie. But other than that, nothing really. Nothing really. That's coming up. So I don't see anything. Do you guys see anything that could have caused this spike? Anyways, this is bullish, okay? So 4 hour, let's look at the 15-minute chart. RSI very weak. If we get another drop here, producing an RSI at around 40, we could get a long signal here. Okay, so something to watch for because we got demand in play. Big drop into it. Yeah. So I'm going to sit on my hands because that was the TSN turning point. And now it's telling me that it wants to go higher. But if you look at the charts, okay, the daily chart is bearish because we have institutional supply in play here, okay? And that was pushing price to the downside. We have the 4 hour time frame bullish because it removed this area of supply and it's coming in with institutional buying, all right? And we look at the weekly time frame, it is bullish, right? So when you have a clash of different forces coming in from the bottom, from the top, it's not a good time to trade. I mean, I was expecting that they were going to use that supply to push price to the downside because banks need to take profits on their long positions. I don't know exactly what their long positions are at this time because we don't have access to the data right now with the government shutdown. But I'm assuming they're going to need to take profits on their short positions soon. So I'm expecting a big drop. A big drop at some point is happening, okay? Where is it going to happen from? Difficult to say. It may test this daily area of supply for a second time, and then we'll see the drop. I don't know about how this timing is going to be. The highest probability, okay, if you want to trade highest probability and you don't want to play any games, and at this point I don't want to play any games, I took a chance at shorting that supply. It didn't work, so now I'm not playing any games. I'm going to wait for this area of demand to be taken out first, okay, on the weekly time frame, because this is where price is being held up right now from, okay? And so I'm going to wait for this area to be taken out. That way the banks will be telling me that their medium-term buying area, they're not interested in medium-term buying anymore. And then that means medium-term selling is going to take place. And that's the profit taking on the long positions that we've been expecting. Okay. So gonna watch for that. And until that happens, I'm just going to be patient. And that's it. Okay. I'm going to let you go because we got a lot more work to do. If you want more information, come and join us in the Telegram channel, and I'll be posting a lot more analysis and information for you guys. All right, folks, thanks for joining me. I appreciate it. Always a pleasure to be with you guys in the morning, and I'll see you guys in the Telegram channel. Take care, everybody. So long.